Sheilas and fellas, Hank has been on a mission to speedrun bankruptcy by reviewing some of the worst and most expensive pre-builds of all time. When he caught wind of an RTX 5090 PC sold directly on HP's website for 3,117 United States hot dogs plus free shipping, he cashed out his 401k and purchased it with his own money. The only problem? Every single tech YouTuber I've seen has said that these Omen pre-builds are complete scams. But that won't stop Hank, mate. His brain is smoother than an egg, so he bought it, and sweet merciful Zeus, it has arrived and the box is the biggest thing I've ever seen. For a quick comparison, let's get Hank in here, and goodness me, it is 50,000 times larger than the best PC building dog to ever live. But it's not about the size of the box, mate. It's what's on the inside that counts. So we've got the box upside down. We just have to take these security clips out and we can struggle terribly to get it all the way off. Good lordy, mate, we are so bad at this. It's huge. And we finally have it off. And what is happening, mate? Have we been catfished? The actual box is half the size of the original one. Let's bring Hank in here for a quick size comparison. This is the box that showed up at our doorstep, literally mogging Hank with its monolithic stature. And this is what was located inside of this thing. HP is seriously compensating with their box sizes, mate. Get it together. So let's rip this next box off, and another layer? Come on, mate. I want to see the PC. So we remove the foam at the bottom, and this is it, ladies and gentlemen, the final layer. Let's grip it, rip it, and stick it to see what we have actually purchased. Good lord, the glare on the glass. I can't even see the insides of the PC, and you can literally see the plate of chicken I bribe Hank with to get him to do tricks. Even more embarrassingly, you can see our budget R camera setup. We are a fraud. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, ignore that last segment. This is it. We have removed the glass front panel, so this next rip will reveal the final product. And look at Hank's face, mate. He is fed up with this. He wants to see where all of his life savings went. Let's give him a bit of chimkin to apologize. And there she is, mate. The HP Omen 45-liter desktop gaming PC containing the RTX 5090. And what the hell, Bron James? 4 sticks of RAM? Yes! We have hit the jackpot and have already made our money back on this PC. That's what I'm talking about, baby. So let's take a step back and explain how we actually got to this point. Now, a website we are literally on 24/7 is slickdeals.net. Now, no, this isn't an ad. We have no affiliation to this website. It is completely free. We literally just type gaming PC into their search engine and it comes up with tons of deals daily from Micro Center, Best Buy, Newegg, Amazon, and on the 14th of January, one came directly from the HP website. The user Nerd01 posted a step-by-step protocol on how to add an RTX 5090 Omen desktop into the cart, but the amazing thing was that by adding this HyperX Pulsefire mousepad, it would give you an additional 10% off. HP was also doing a New Year sale, so at the end when you go to purchase the PC, you could add the coupon code NewYear26 and it gave you an additional 26% off. That is bonkers. Now, I thought surely this won't work, but it actually did. We were stunned. Now, at the time when you were doing this, you can literally spec this PC up any way you wanted and still get the 36% off. So on the post, the user Nerd01 made it as cheap as possible by adding the Intel Ultra 7 265K, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 1 terabyte of storage, which if you were buying this PC normally, pairing these with an RTX 5090 is absolutely disgusting. But given the GPU by itself is going for well over $3,000 at the moment, and there's news reports that it's gonna spike up to 5,000 buccarinos, who actually cares, right? Plus, if you spec this PC up without using any coupon codes, it costs $3,949, so we'll take it, won't we? No, we won't take it, mate. Hank cared too much. He thought, screw that, let's take advantage of this 36% off and just throw the best of the best into this thing. So once he finished this build online and added the coupons, he saved a total of $1,259 to end with a price tag of just over 3,800 American rock flag and eagle dollars after tax. Now, I get it, that is a lot of money, even with an RTX 5090 inside of your PC, so let's tear this thing apart piece by piece, and you can let me know down below whether whether we got scammed or if this was the greatest deal Hank has ever found, but before we do that, we first have to judge the aesthetics. So before we turn this thing on, we usually get the longest boy in the universe to give us 2 firm handshakes. But he ain't just some one-trick pony, mate. Oh no, no, no. Feast your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Hank, can you please do a mythical spin followed by your usual 2 firm handshakes and we can turn this baby on? My goodness, get this man into the circus ASAP. And with that, the PC is on and gaze upon this thing's aesthetics in all of its glory. Excuse me, mate. We get it. You did a spin. It was magical. Now get the hell out of the way. There we go, mate. We could finally see the PC and get ready for a jump scare in 3, 2, 1. And good lord, mate, Hank is already inside of the LCD AIO. What a time to be alive. So let's start judging this thing, and given that we paid our own money for this, I am going to be as critical as possible, starting off with the bad. The cable management is atrocious in this thing, and this is literally coming from the worst cable manager on YouTube. Whoever did this must have been blind, seriously. Moving on, and secondly, they've got a micro ATX motherboard inside this humongous ATX case, and you know that is our pet peeve, so thanks, HP. Also, despite the front fans and RAM all blinding me severely with rainbow ARGB puke, the back fan in the case is stock standard, so thanks for doing that on your ultra high-end gaming PC, you filthy animals. Now, with all of that out of the way, I actually love the look of this thing. The GPU is like 10 times the size of my wiener.
You cannot be serious!
I am talking about Hank, mate. Get your mind out of the gutter. It also has the GeForce RTX logo light up with white ARGB, which is a pretty cool feature, and it also has a very sturdy sag bracket attached, which we love. Now, the front panel is completely entombed in glass, but they have openings in the side to let air in, and as you'll see later, despite what Steve from Gamers Nexus said, the temperatures on this thing are cooler than the backside of a pillow. I also like the Omen diamond on the front, which is lit up in ARGB. I think it's a nice touch as well. Now, let's move to the elephant in the room. 4 sticks of RAM, baby. There is enough rainbow ARGB puke to give a rhinoceros a seizure, but it has been so long since we have seen 4 RAM sticks in a PC, and we ain't complaining during these Ramageddon times, mate. In terms of the radiator for the AIO, it's actually separated from the internal components of the PC in what they call a cryo chamber, so you can't see the fans or anything. Now, this is apparently supposed to help out with the cooling, and we will test this later, but it's time for the main attraction, ladies and gentlemen. The LCD AIO with this ugly looking fella right here at the front and center. Now, if you don't want a picture of the glizzy on your AIO, you can throw up your CPU and GPU temperatures or GIFs and videos as well. So I think it looks pretty awesome, and it's pretty rare for a pre-built to actually include a customizable LCD AIO, but let me know down below. Do you like the aesthetics of this thing, or are you currently throwing up all over your computer screen at this dirty looking pre-built? But the time for vanity is over, ladies and gentlemen. Let's flip this thing on its side and start ripping it apart so I can reveal what 3,800 United States buccarinos has got for Hank. We of course start with this megalodon of a GPU. We have to remove the sag bracket, which is surprisingly easier than I thought it would be. It's just a couple of screws at the front and on the inside, but I don't think someone without PC building knowledge would actually want to do this, and you'll see why this is a problem later. After we do that, we take the 600-watt cable out of the GPU and undo the screws on the left, and holy macaroni, mate, I think I've broken my back heaving this thing out of the case. Look at the girth. Behold the RTX 5090 in all of her glory. This is actually specifically made by HP. You can see their Omen diamond logo on the front here. Now, this naughty girl ain't winning any beauty pageants anytime soon. She is extremely basic looking, but in the right case with the ARGB on the 5090 logo, I think she can look pretty spiffy. Now, this chunky bugger is a 3-slot card, and I just so happen to have my hands on a 2-slot RTX 5090 Founders Edition from my mate who was asking me to build a PC around it. And just look at the size difference. My god, it is actually amazing NVIDIA were able to make a 2-slot RTX 5090 given how much horsepower is in there. Putting it next to the very chunky Omen 5090, it's actually unbelievable how much smaller the 2-slot Founders Edition card is. And to add even more gravity to the situation, we throw Hank in the middle of a 5090 sandwich, and you can see he just destroys the tiny Founders Edition card in size, but he's actually smaller than the HP's Big Chungus. It is too bad NVIDIA has completely sold out on all of us gamers, and we can't buy either of these cards for under 5k anymore, you greedy buggers. But there is one advantage when it comes to being a big old fatty, and that's when it comes to the cooling, thanks to the chunky heat pipes and big R fans on this thing. When we stress test it for 30 minutes under 100% load using Furmark software, the maximum temperature it gets up to is 69, baby. The sexy time number. Nice one, HP, ya horn dogs. But if we do this same Furmark test on the RTX 5090 Founders Edition, it makes its way all the way up to 81 degrees Celsius, so score one for the fat boy. But let me know down below, if you had a choice of a 3-slot Chungus GPU with better cooling, would you take it over the 2-slot sleeker looking Founders Edition card which runs hotter than the sun? Moving on, and next up we have the M.2, and it is completely entombed in this massive heatsink, so I think HP took it to heart when Steve roasted them for the bad cooling, because this is crazy. We can't actually see what the M.2 is, but looking on Task Manager, it appears to be a Samsung drive, and when we look it up online, it is Gen 4 and apparently scores better than 93% of disks when it comes to speeds. Overall, the read and write speeds are over 5,700, so not too shabby, mate. The closest version we can find online to this costs 249 United States oysters, but this means nothing because even the worst 2TB drives are over 200 bucks. Now we go to the star of the show. You think it would be the 5090, but nah, mate, not during Ramageddon. We have 4 sticks of RAM in this thing. This is unbelievable. Now, the reason why we rarely see 4 RAM sticks, other than of course RAM prices being absolutely insane right now, is that on AMD systems, they work much better and prefer to use 2 sticks of RAM, but interestingly on Intel systems, they seem to be able to handle 4 much better, and HP has blessed us with 4 sticks of 16GB DDR5 Kingston Fury Beast sticks clocked at 6,000 mega transfers per second. That is a total of 64 gigabytes, and when I try and buy it online, I can't even find the 4-pack, but the 2-pack is going for 1,200 United States breakfast burritos on Newegg. And that's only for the 5,200 mega transfers per second. Hank can basically sell these sticks at this point and retire to a Caribbean island. What a find. Now, the last thing we need to do is just go to Task Manager and check whether XMP is enabled. I'm sure it is.
You cannot be serious!
You're joking, mate. This is your most expensive pre-built HP, and it's set to 4,800 mega transfers per second on a 6,000 RAM kit. If I ever pass a HP executive in the street, we are throwing hands. This is deplorable. So enough crashing out, mate. Let's move on to the CPU. You saw Nerd01 spec his thing up with the Intel Ultra 7, but that ain't good enough for the glizzy. He needed something better, so we removed the LCD AIO, and behold.
What?
Sorry, mate. Let me remove the gunk, and here we have the Intel Ultra 9 285K. Now, I get it. If you're a PC elitist, you hate the Intel Ultra series. The generational uplift over the 14900K in gaming was actually worse in some scenarios, which is crazy. They also removed hyperthreading to increase efficiency, so it has less cores than the 14900K, and on top of that, they moved the Ultra series onto a completely new chipset, but then immediately ended the socket after one generation, so there is no room for upgradability. But in a vacuum, looking at this thing by itself, it is still an insane CPU for both productivity and gaming, and given you have a 5090, you will likely be gaming at 1440p or 4K, which is much more GPU intensive, so this thing will destroy any game. Plus, if you have the i9 chip, there is literally no sane argument on earth that it would need to be upgraded in the next 6 to 7 years, so if you get a PC for a great price with an Intel Ultra 9, go for it, mate. Ignore the hate. You can see for games like Cyberpunk and Formula 1 26, we can play at the highest path tracing settings with DLSS set to quality and maintain a cool 60 frames per second. Now, that's great if you're into the highest fidelity graphics, but if you're more into competitive first-person shooters, this thing destroys everything. You can see we get really good FPS in Marvel Rivals, Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7, The Finals, Rainbow Six Siege, you name it, it's getting destroyed. But there is a huge problem. Steve from Gamers Nexus goes into much more detail on his channel, so go check his video out after this if you're concerned. Basically, the CPU has 3 modes it can enter in its bloatware software: balance, performance mode, and extreme. Basically, these These modes will limit the total power draw to your CPU. Now, Steve does a much better job at explaining it, so if you want to go into detail, go watch that. But basically, balanced is bollocks, performance is subpar, and extreme runs at the power limit marketed by Intel, so pretty much what 99% of machines can run. So all you have to do is set it to extreme mode and you're set, right? Well, the only downside is if you set it to extreme, it voids your warranty. Are you serious, HP? You can shove this thing up your ass. Now, is this the end of the world for PC gaming? Only if you're a sweaty virgin like me and Hank. It won't completely destroy your experience, but it's not right, mate. And speaking about not right, this proprietary motherboard also sucks some serious donkey meat. Before we roast that though, now that we have the 5090 out of it, look at the cable management on this thing. We literally haven't touched it. It came like this. Sickening stuff, mate, but what's even more sickening is that this is a micro ATX board in a full-size ATX case. You know Hank hates that. But even ignoring that, if we look at the motherboard, it looks like complete garbage for a high-end PC. Seriously, you're strapping an RTX 5090 PC to a motherboard that only comes with 2 total M.2 slots. Are you serious? And on top of that, if you aren't a hardcore virgin PC builder like Hank, you'd never be able to reach the second slot to upgrade it without having to remove like 40 screws and take the 5090 out. So that kind of sucks. And if you think that's bad, look at the rear I/O, mate. I have literally taken a dump that contained more USB ports than this. To be fair though, they do have Thunderbolt 4, which is okay. And looking at the front I/O, they have 4 USB ports. So fine, I'll stop complaining, I guess. So that's it for the teardown. Now, obviously, we were very hard on this PC, but this is their flagship pre-built that people are probably buying for closer to $5,000 when there isn't a ridiculous sale on. So I don't take anything back that I said, but for $3,800, it isn't bad. You know, as long as you ignore the tons of bloatware that comes with the PC and the fact that they power limit their components with the threat of voiding your warranty if you change it yourself. But considering the PC overall is cheaper than an RTX 5090 by itself right now, what choice do you have if you want the best GPU out there? But there's one more component that we have to look at, and it's the power supply. So given the efficiency of the Ultra 9, we only have to put a tiny bit of thermal paste on, so there we go, that looks good. Then we slowly screw the LCD AIO back on, then the M.2 can go back in like so, and then we chuck in our $1,200 RAM sticks with the might of Thor into all 4 slots, and finally, we insert the GPU with one hand just to show how strong we are. Screw it back in on the side, put the sag bracket back on it, and finally push the 600-watt PSU cable in, and good as new, baby. So the final step, flip her around to the other side and see what's going on in the back door. So to remove either the front or back panel, the Omen has an easy latch button, which is very handy, mate. We love this feature, and as we take the back panel off, I don't know, mate. The cable management is fine here, I guess. It's not as sexy as some other pre-builts, but why have they gone to so much effort in the back but not at the front? Seriously, it looks like World War II was going on in that case. My God. Now, it does have an ARGB fan hub, so technically you could remove the exhaust fan and put an infinity fan on it and it would look good as new, mate. But enough yapping. I know you want to see the power supply, and guess what? There's nothing to see, so sucks to be you, mate. Seriously, this thing is completely unbranded. Heck, it doesn't even have a power switch on the back, which seems a bit crazy to me, but I think that's common on HP pre-builts. But if we look online, this thing should have came with a 1200 watt 80 plus gold certified PSU, so that sounds great. But let me know in the comments if you've ever had trouble with the HP PSU, because we've never owned one before and we have no idea what it's made up of. So there she is, mate, the 3,800 United States lobster roll HP Omen RTX 5090 gaming PC. The final question we have to answer before we go is, can we actually build this for cheaper using brand new parts? And the answer is absolutely not, mate. We cannot even get close to this, but let's humor ourselves and do it, shall we? So it is the 29th of January 2026 for reference, and starting with the GPU, they are literally all sold out in Micro Center and on Best Buy, mate. This is insane. Moving over to Newegg, the cheapest one we can find is $4,020, or on Amazon, it's $4,284.99. We are truly at the end of times when it comes to high-end PC building. My God. So we can actually end this segment right here because we've already gone over the price. We paid $3,800 after tax for the entire PC. This is crazy, but let's just continue anyway. Moving on to finding the best motherboard for the Intel Ultra series, the cheapest but best Z890 we can find on Amazon is $196. It is this Mag Tomahawk, and it comes with 4 total M.2 slots and PCIe 5 for the GPU and storage, so this absolutely takes a dump on the motherboard we have in our system. Looking for the Intel Ultra 9 on Amazon is awful price-wise. It's 536 United States bucks. Jeez Louise. Now, we have already showed you that buying our specific RAM kit costs $1,200, but we can find a cheaper 2-stick set for 679 American soccer balls, so let's add that to the cart. In terms of the AIO, we will get this bad boy from Thermalright for 56 bucks. They are the GOAT when it comes to PC cooling. Next up, the M.2. It is a terrible time for storage as well. The cheapest Gen 4 drive we can find is about 200 bucks on Amazon, and I have no idea what this brand is, but times are tough, mate. We will take what we can get. In terms of the PC case, our favorite budget one by far is this DIY PC ARGB N3 Black on Newegg, and after using this promo code, you can get it for $6-7 bucks, and this thing is great value. For Infinity fans inside of this great design, which comes with an included ARGB fan hub at the back, there is lots of room to build in, and the front I/O has a USB-C and 2 USB 3s, mate. We have built in this case many times on this channel. It is by far our most requested case, especially when you put an extra 6 Infinity fans on the top and bottom, and the link is down below if you want to buy it. Now, trying to find the power supply is interesting, as I've never used 1200 watts before on a PC, but our friends over at PC Cooler absolutely love Hank, and they sent over this YT 1200 watt power supply for us to test out. It looks like an absolute beast, and right now it's $184 on Newegg, but has a 50% off promo code at checkout, so you can get it for 92 bucks. That is unbelievable for 1200 watts of power, mate. I have never seen that in my life, so go out and get it quickly, and thanks for sending it across PC Cooler. The link is down below if you want it, and we are going to be using it for an upcoming build. So with all the parts added to the cart, when we add the cost together, it costs a grand total of 5,846 American dollary dues, and that's before tax, mate. So given that we picked up this HP Omen 45-liter RTX 5090 Intel Ultra 9 with 64 gigabytes for $3,800 after tax, I think we can definitely call this PC a win, but even still, let me know down below if you think we got scammed or if we came out on top. But before we go, I have one question for you. Would you rather pay an extra $1,200 for this $5,000 all AMD high-end PC from Micro Center? It comes with the 9950 X3D and an actually good X870E motherboard, along with some other pretty cool specs as well. Well, guess what, mate? I said I would review it if our other video from Wednesday got 1,000 likes, and you all got it there in under one day, you filthy animals. So I have the PC ready for review like I promised, and we will be doing a battle of the behemoths in an upcoming video, so get excited, mate. The link to Wednesday's video is up here. It was an absolute beauty. Go watch it, mate. Otherwise, me and the weenie love ya. Goodbye.